Hey y'all, this is Sherelle Martin with Nitram Financial Solutions, where we do bookkeeping without boundaries. So today I want to talk about cash flow. I told y'all cash flow is my jam, so a lot of these videos are probably going to be about cash flow. But one of the main reasons that people come to us is due to cash flow problems. Outside of taxes is probably the number one reason why people start to look for an accountant or bookkeeper if they don't already have one, is because they're having some cash flow problems and they need to figure out how to get a handle on it and how to get the ship going in the right direction. So what I'm going to share with you today are 5 reasons why people are experiencing these cash flow problems, in hopes that you can, if you are a business owner, that it can help you. If you are an accountant or bookkeeper, that it can help you help your clients and businesses that you serve. So the first reason that businesses are experiencing cash flow is financial management problems. And so what does that mean? That's all about bad business management, unfortunately. It's about not keeping good accounting records. It's about mixing the money, mixing personal and business money into one bucket, commingling the funds. Huge problem. And that's not just for my small business owners. Sometimes people think like, I'm a $1 million business or a multi-million-dollar business, and mixing. I know that you're not supposed to mix and mingle the business and the personal funds, but can I tell you how many people do it still? So that is something that we will always have to talk about, is you need to stop mixing your personal funds with your business funds and paying for personal things out of the business account like so much and so often. But it's also making decisions such as sitting on inventory when you know that you need to get that inventory moving so that you can bring more money in the business, because inventory sitting on the shelves is money. If you haven't heard about the store Forever 21, recently filed bankruptcy and went out of business. This is not the first time they've done it. I don't remember how many times they've done it before, but this ain't the first time. And it's not even a surprise to me, because every time I went in that store with my daughters, all I saw was money. If you've ever been in a Forever 21, there were clothes on top of clothes on top of clothes. Like everywhere you turned, there was a rack. You could barely walk in the store because there was a rack. And all I saw was money. All this money that isn't moving, because it's not like they sold out of everything in the store ever. I could probably bet that they've never done that. So that's just money sitting around doing nothing, not generating money. So as a result, they're putting out money, bringing in more products in multiple stores across the country, probably across the world, spending money on all this inventory that isn't moving fast enough. And so that's just money out the door. So it was no surprise to me that they ran out of money and that they were having problems, because it was all sitting in the stores in front of us. Financial management problems such as doing bad business, making bad business decisions. I'm not going to say doing bad business, just not making great decisions that are in the better benefit of the business. The second reason that businesses experience cash flow problems is cash flow management. So not managing the cash flow in a good way, not having a budget and not managing the business to that budget, or not even tracking towards that budget, not accepting the payments to keep the money flowing in the door, right? So only saying that they still, believe it or not, there are businesses who still only say they want cash or check. Like, I don't even know how that's still a thing, but there are businesses who are so focused on not accepting credit cards because they don't want to deal with the credit card fees, even if they can charge it now to the customer, which I am against, and that's a whole nother rant. But, because they don't want to deal with that, they want their money in cash in hand right now. They won't accept any other form of payment, which as a result, they're either not getting paid, timely, or they're losing customers who just simply don't carry cash. Like, there's a whole generation that don't even carry cash. So how is that even a thing? Or wanting to still send check payments, and which we've seen an influx of, where checks are getting lost in the mail, stolen out of mailboxes. So just making poor cash flow management decisions and or overspending. You've heard me talk about a cost audit. So not sitting down, taking the time to go through your expenses to identify where the money is actually leaking out of the business. It's just poor cash flow management. The third reason businesses are experiencing cash flow problems is poor sales management. So not investing or doing the right things in their sales cycle part of their business, right? So we're focusing on so much on trying to focus on getting new business from new clients. We're not spending any time trying to nurture and get additional sales out of current clients. We are having clients pay us late and not charging late fees, or saying we're charging them and not collecting on them, right? Focusing so much effort on getting sales from one set client and not diversifying our market mix, right? So, with the things that are going on in the administration currently, and I'm in the DC area, a lot of businesses were affected because they've lost a substantial amount of government contracts. We've had clients who've lost 90% of their business because their business was solely on the government contracting and or specific agency within that government. So as a result, they lost a lot of business. And so they're going to have to reinvent and pivot and try to go out and find new business in new markets, whether it's different agencies, whether it's in the corporate space, whether it's serving the small business sector. So not diversifying your income, your sales, where they're coming from, and focusing solely on one thing is probably the biggest sales faux pas out there. Is, you can't have all your eggs in one basket. That's basically what we're saying. Because if you put all your eggs in one basket, one single event can wipe out the whole basket. And so doing things like that and not even taking the time to pivot, like even in this climate and seeing what's going on, there are some people who are still so hell bent on focusing still on that target in that market, and they're not even trying to explore any other opportunities out there that could be available for them. The fourth reason businesses experience cash flow problems is marketing management. So bad marketing management. And this is about focusing all of your marketing on one type of marketing, right? Social media is big. It's big. We know it's out there. We also know that some of it is a little bit of a sham, frankly, but spending all your time saying I'm only going to target clients on social media in general, or one particular platform in social media instead of all platforms, when there are a myriad of other ways out there to market your business. There's speaking, right? Speaking is a really, really big way. There's teaching, which kind of falls under speaking, networking, going to events, referrals, right? Getting partnerships, joint ventures, literally sending out things in the mail, marketing to your list. You're collecting all these names on a newsletter list and not sending anything to them, right? So there are several other ways to market your business other than social media. So take the time to go out and explore some of these other ways to get more business into the door. And then the fifth way that businesses are experiencing cash flow problems is due to pricing, right? So I'm sure you've heard a lot of times there are businesses, we're not charging enough. We're not charging enough. We're not charging what we're worth. We're not charging the value of what we provide, the services that we provide. We're not charging enough to cover the cost to do the thing, right? I can't tell you how many times there are businesses who create products and they don't even charge enough to cover the cost that it takes to produce your product. And that includes in service-based businesses, right? As service providers, we have to pay our teams a salary or an hourly rate. And there are software applications and things that we pay for and that we cover. And so our prices have to be able to cover all of that, plus a part of our overhead. Most people do not charge enough to cover any amount of overhead. If they're charging enough to cover their expenses, that's all they're charging. They're not charging enough to pay for all the things that help keep the lights on. Every client's fee needs to pay for a portion of your overhead, right? And that's your advertising, your marketing, your rent, your insurance, all the things you have to pay for, whether you sell something or not, right? Those are the things that still have to be paid for. And if you're only charging enough for your service to pay for the direct costs and the indirect costs that relate to providing that service, there's a whole bunch of other expenses out here that aren't getting covered at all. This happens a lot in some industries, and honestly, some industries is a little hardened, right? The construction industry, some parts of the government contracting space also as well, right? They can only charge a certain amount or they won't even get the sale. But in this instance, we have to go back to the reasons three and four, which were sales and marketing, finding other ways to diversify and bring in additional income, because the margins on the service are so low that it's not enough to cover the rest of the business. One of our previous clients, they are no longer in business, but their cost of sales is what I'm going to call it, because they didn't sell products, but all of the costs, their gross margin was less than 30%. But their overhead, so everything else to keep the lights on, was more than 30%. So they were consistently operating at a loss. You definitely can't have an influx of cash because you can't even meet the need it takes to run the business and keep the business in operation. So I'm going to come down off my horse because I'm getting a little excited about this now. But those are 5 reasons that businesses experience cash flow problems, right? It's poor financial management, it's poor cash flow management, it's poor sales management, poor marketing management, and poor pricing management. I just gave you like the top 5 categories. Within those 5 categories, there are 30 reasons that make up all 5 of these categories. If you want to get a copy of all 30 reasons, then be sure to comment below the word cash flow, and we'll send you a copy of our 30 ways in 30 days to increase your cash flow, where I talk about these 5 categories and all 30 different ways that you can increase cash flow that relate to those 5 categories. If you like this video, then definitely click the like button and subscribe and share it out with the masses. And I will see y'all next week. Take care.